Hello and welcome to my channel IELTS Made Easy. So yesterday in my intro video, I remember I ended up talking about paper-based test and computer-delivered test. Of course, paper-based IELTS test and computer-delivered IELTS test. Well, paper-based is the test where you would be answering all the 4 sections: speaking, reading, writing and listening through pen and paper, rather I would say pencil and paper, wherein in computer delivered test you would be doing everything on the screen in front of you. So जैसे कि मैंने आपको कल भी कहा था, like I told you before as well, that I took my general and in the paper based mode and academic in the computer delivered mode. Well, based on my experience, I would definitely say that go for computer delivered mode. Please take the exam through CDT mode because ये काफ़ी convenient होता है. It's not very exhaustive. I remember when I had this LRW, listening, reading and writing, via paper based, I felt I was thoroughly mentally drained and exhausted. लेकिन ऐसा कुछ मैंने कंप्यूटर डिलीवर्ड टेस्ट में फील नहीं किया. I was quite fresh by the end of the day as well. One more thing, I'm sharing it based on my own experience. If you wear glasses, don't forget to take the same during your test date. What happened is, मेरे साथ क्या हुआ that during paper based test, during my big day test which is LRW, I forgot to take my glasses और मेरा दूर का vision blurred है. So I was not able to actually read out जो उन लोगों ने timer set किया था. तो मुझे थोड़ा सा वो ब्लर्ड दिख रहा था. सो आई केप्ट आस्किंग पीपल हु आर रोमिंग अराउंड यू टू सी एवरीथिंग इज फाइन and to see that people are not following any unfair means. So I kept asking, excuse me, how much time is left, etc, etc. So I got bit diverted. Because of that, मेरा reading का band score general में थोड़ा कम आया था. But then overall it was good. So do take your glasses. Don't forget to take your glasses during your LRW, be it paper based or be it computer delivered. But I would definitely say that go for CDT mode. It's much simpler and less exhaustive. आपको बस अपनी login ID डालनी पड़ती है and screen just prompts you to do everything. Alright? Wherein in paper based test you would really need to write everything. Your name, your center ID, your role ID, your passport number. You need to gray out boxes. तो वो आपको सारे sheets में करने पड़ते हैं, which is little exhaustive. So go for CDT mode, guys. I'm not saying that PBT is bad, वो बुरा है. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that CDT is more convenient and it's more user friendly. मुझे ऐसा बोलने दीजिए कि वो ज़्यादा user friendly है. So go for CDT. तो ये तो बात हो गई paper based and computer delivered mode की. Now today I'll get started with speaking module. Well, I gave my speaking test both in general and academic, and वो थोड़ा अजीब सा एक्सपीरियंस होता है. It's just like, you know, जो हम interviews देते हैं kind of experience. You know that you're going to meet somebody who's not known to you and he or she will ask questions and you need to answer. And of course, it's the COVID era, so definitely you need to put on mask and answer. तो ये डिफरेंस है प्री कोविड एंड ड्यूरिंग कोविड में. मैंने अपने दोनों स्पीकिंग टेस्ट एग्जाम दिए वेयरिंग अ मास्क. So let me tell you a bit about speaking. Speaking happens in 4 parts, and definitely either, whether you're going for IELTS general or you're going for IELTS academic, speaking is the same. Before that, let me tell you one thing, कि अगर आप इंडिया से एग्ज़ाम दे रहे हैं तो you might be knowing the fact that now IELTS exam is only accredited with IDP. British Council is no more in picture. तो मैंने भी थ्रू IDP वेबसाइट ही अपने एग्ज़ाम्स के लिए एनरोल किया था, तो ये आप लोगों को पता ही होगा. नाउ मूविंग फॉरवर्ड टू स्पीकिंग. So I still remember I had opted for PBT in general, and they had given a hotel venue for speaking, wherein for CDT it was a different venue altogether. So I had this mask on and I went for the speaking test. So mask में क्या होता है that when you're without mask, you're able to express yourself quite freely, wherein, just a moment, I'll put the mask on. अगर आप ये सर्जिकल मास्क लगा के जा रहे हैं, because I remember I had exactly put this surgical mask, तो थोड़ा restriction हो जाता है. And speaking is around 11 to 14 minutes, so you really need to be confident and you really need to be at comfort speaking with the mask on. All right? तो मैं आपको सबसे पहले ये बोलूँगी कि आप थोड़ा सा प्रैक्टिस कीजिए at home. Do practice with mask on. See that you are comfortable enough while you're speaking with your mask on. That is very important. That's the prerequisite, okay? Do that. Then, I know that the examiner is not able to see you well, but then with the expression of your eyes and a bit of your body language and hand movements, try to make that connect with him or her. वो बहुत ज़रूरी है. You need to make that connect with him or her. I know that your face is not visible, but through your eyes, through your body, through your hands, try to have that connect. And just practice it once or twice at home with whomever you're comfortable with, as in how you're going to speak with your mask on, how your eyes can also show off the expression, and how your hands can move, or how your body movements can happen when you're speaking. Say suppose I'm here and my body is rigid and I'm just going on talking. It's okay, I'm talking, but then there's something missing. So keep moving your hands when you're talking. Let your body express what you're talking. Let your eyes also make those little expressions. Sometimes smile a bit. Make the examiner feel that you are comfortable. All right? So practice कीजिए with your mask on at home, because there's definitely a bit of difference. आप बात कर रहे हैं with mask and without mask. See, I gave both general and academic with my mask on because we are still in COVID times, right? So that is mandatory. Now, speaking has 3 parts. However, I'll add one more part to it, which is called part 0. So part 0, part 1, part 2, and part 3. Part 0 is a part when you are greeting your examiner, when you meet the examiner and you greet your examiner. Part 1 is a general interview introduction round wherein the examiner wants to know something about you. Part 2 is a cue card round. You will be getting a question with some sub questions. You will be getting 1 minute of time to write or jot any pointers, and then you would be getting 2 minutes of time to speak about it. And part 3 is discussion type question. That is a extended part or enhanced part of part 2. All right. So part 0 is greeting the examiner. Part 1 is when the examiner wants to know more about you. Part 2 is the cue card question. And part 3 is the extension of cue card. Now, the criteria or the judgment parameters for speaking is divided into 4 major parts. One is your fluency to speak English. Other is your grammar. The other is your vocabulary. And the last is how coherent are you? How good are you in expressing yourself? All right? So do keep these things in mind. Pronunciation, vocabulary, your grammatical accuracy, and how coherent and how good are you in expressing yourself. Okay? There is nothing like you need to talk about everything that's been asked. Sometimes we take some time to understand and the total time is out. So no, don't worry about it. That's not one of the speaking judgment criteria. All right? You just have to be fluent enough to speak English, speak right English, and keep talking. Don't let that pause come in between. Okay? I hope you've got my points. Now, I will share my experience with you. So, what happened is during my general, I remember that once I gave my introduction, once my ID was asked for, after that, the examiner asked me, do you work or you study? So that was my major question in part 1. And then my cue card question was, when was the last time you got up early in the morning, and related questions regarding that. And then the discussion question was, let me remember. Yeah, the discussion question was how good it is to get up in the morning. Are you a morning person? If at all you're a morning person, what do you do in the morning hours, etc. So ये सारे मेरे set of questions थे during general speaking. In academic, again it was the same question thrown at me in part 1, which was, do you work or study? And then there were other questions also. Do you use hands-free, or how good are you in using your mobile and everything? All those generic questions. The cue card question was, just tell me about a cafe you visited, and some related questions. Where was it? When did you go? What did you like, etc. And the other follow-up questions, or the discussion related question, which was extended to part 2, which is the cue card question, was the social interaction that happens in our society or between two human beings, or is it okay to stay alone, or have few friends, or have many friends, etc. Okay, so I got band 8 in speaking general because I answered almost all questions and I was quite fluent and everything. But I got 7.5, band 7.5 in academics speaking, because I feel I freaked out in the last question. तो मेरा question था cue card का about the cafe I visited, and I told about the Leopold cafe in Mumbai that I visited, because I was really, I'm still affected by what I saw. I mean that is one of the cafes in India that encountered terrorism in November 2008. So I had so many things coming in my mind, and I spoke everything. So that is something I talked about, Leopold Cafe in Mumbai. And after that, uh, the examiner, I remember she started asking me about some is making friends okay, or how good or bad is the social interaction happening and everything. So in the last question, I remember I got freaked out. I was not able to understand what she was asking out of me. All right. So I just asked her that could you please repeat the question again. She repeated. I just started speaking, but the time was out. Then I was feeling that I'm not sure if I'll be getting above 7 in speaking, but then since my past questions were pretty good and I could express myself nicely, so I think this was not one of the major points कि मेरा band बहुत कम हो जाएगा. So I got 7.5. So guys, remember one thing, in speaking, you really need to be confident. Just keep talking, talking, talking. Don't take those long pauses in between. Make the examiner feel that you're comfortable in talking in English. Okay? There are other more things that we need to take care of while we speak, especially during the speaking module of IELTS, that I think I'll cover in my next video, because I'll take you part by part. The first is the introduction, or let me take you from part 0, the way you greet the examiner, then part 1, which is intro or interview, part 2 is the cue card, and part 3 is the discussion, the extension of the cue card. So let me take you one by one. Let me just talk about all these 4 parts. Let me tell you that part 0 is just greeting. So आपका marks उस पे नहीं आता है. Your marking starts from part 1 to part 3. So that's the part which is important. But the thing is, greeting also plays a very key role. और कुछ points important जो कि मैं आपसे share करूँगी in my next video. But for the time being, just remember that these days you have to keep your mask on while speaking. So keep your mask on at home and practice to speak at least from 11 to 14 minutes. One thing. Second thing, be fluent. Avoid long pauses. Try to have your grammar and vocabulary right. Alright? और भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं. Paraphrasing. If something which is asked to you and you have not done it before, like कभी कभी किसी को music based questions आते हैं and he or she is not into music, he or she cannot say that can you please change my cue card. So in that case, what needs to be done? And main thing is paraphrasing. How you can show the examiner that you've got good set of words, and how you can show your examiner that you are quite good in speaking. So कुछ और चीज़ें हैं जो कि मैं आपके साथ share करूँगी, but that I would be sharing across in my next video. So stay tuned, and I hope this video was useful to you. Stay tuned because I'll be sharing another useful tips for speaking. So stay around and take care. See you soon. Bye.